Our closed session for our, it's already August 17th, City Council meeting for the City of Crescent City. It's a regular meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order. Is there anything to report out of closed session?
Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. Could you please do roll call?
Mayor?
Oh, excuse me.
Actually, we did not complete our closed session agenda. So after the closing of the public session this evening, we will be reconvening our closed session.
Well, I need to ask for public comment on that part of the closed session also.
No, we've already had public comment on the closed session agenda.
All right, thank you. Okay, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Hawley?
Here.
Councilmember Inscore?
Here.
Councilmember Murray?
Here.
Pro Tem Mania?
Here.
Mayor Gastineau?
Thank you. And I'm going to have Pro Tem Mania lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the first thing on our agenda tonight is an acknowledgement. Recognition of the retirement of Ron Watt, wastewater treatment plant operator after 35 years of dedicated service to the City of Crescent City. And to read your acknowledgement will be Council Member Ania.
Come on up, Ron.
Yes, come on up to the podium.
It'll be a pleasure to read this after serving our community for 35 years.
Yeah.
Whereas Ron Watt has served our community for well over 35 years as a public works employee with the City of Crescent City and has now retired effective July 10th, 2015. Whereas his skill and dedication to the city's wastewater treatment plant has been vital to our community's health and safety, and whereas his knowledge of the existing water treatment plant and ability to train new operators was critical in the successful integration and startup of the wastewater treatment plant improvement project, and whereas he will be deeply missed as a valued friend and employee. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in Mayor Gastineau on behalf of the City Council of the City of Crescent City, I do by hereby tender the certificate of appreciation to Ron Watt, commending him for his many contributions to the progress of this community and for the appreciation of his many years of dedicated service, and do by extend him our wishes for many happy years of retirement and healthy retirement. Presented by the City Council of the City of Crescent City on August 17, 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Watt, I want to present you with the certificate. And also, with this portrait, it says Ron Watt, congratulations on your retirement and thank you for 35 years of dedicated service. City of Crescent City, 1980 to 2015.
Long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's been a fast. After you retired, you realize 35 years goes pretty quick. But the job was great. I put my kids through school and college, and thanks for the opportunity. And worked with a bunch of great guys over the years. It goes way back. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Take it in.
Yes, that was not somebody's phone going off in the middle of the meeting. That was actual bagpipe music, apparently. Mr. Watt likes his Scottish music. Okay, so next on our agenda.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, please.
Well, thank you for all your years of service, and I think you must have started when you were a baby because you look too young to retire.
All right, any other comments from the council? All right, well, thank you again for your service. All right, now we go on to the consent calendar. We have 6 items. Number 2, approval of the regular meeting minutes from the August 3rd, 2015 council meeting. 3, receive and file the warrant claims list for the period July 25th, 2015 through August 7th, 2015. 4, receive and file the biweekly payroll report for the periods ending August 8th, 2015, paid on August 14th, 2015. 5, receive and file monthly budget to actual financial report for the city's major operating funds for the month of July 2015. 6, consider and adopt resolution number 2015-38, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City approving an amendment to the existing Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the City of Crescent City and the Crescent City Management Employees Association, CCMEA, regarding wages, hours, and other terms of employment for the period of July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. And 7, consider and adopt resolution number 2015-37, updating the position control schedule in the adopted fiscal year 2015-16 operating budget. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar? Seeing no public comment on the consent calendar, I bring it back to the council.
I'll move for approval of the consent calendar items number 2 through 7.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please pull the vote.
Councilmember Holly?
Yes.
Councilmember Inscore?
Yes.
Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Pro Tem Mania?
Yes.
Mayor Gastineau?
Yes, thank you. It passes unanimously. Next on our agenda, item number 8, is a swearing in of Kimmy Scott, City Clerk / Administrative Assistant Analyst. So, Mr. Palazzo, I think I have that honor to do that.
You do have that honor. I'd like to say just a couple of words here.
Please.
Two of the consent items were involved the city clerk position. Kimmy came to us about a year ago now. Was hired as an assistant city clerk. Stepped in to be the deputy clerk at our meetings, and she's done an outstanding job for the city. She stepped up and doing our PIO, implemented a lot of different procedures. Our Friday Minute being one of them. Has fit in very well with the city. Applied for our city clerk job, and we'd like to have her be our city clerk. And it's a real pleasure to have her as part of our community in Crescent City.
Yeah, she's brought a lot of energy to the city and to the offices, and it's always a pleasure to be in contact with her for anything. So, and she keeps me on my toes.
So yes, please swear her in.
All right, so we're gonna go up to the podium there. How about this one? There we go. All right. Okay, so City of Crescent City oath or affirmation of allegiance for public officers and employees. The execution of this oath is required by Article 20, Section 3 of the Constitution of the State of California. So I guess you raise your right hand now. I, Kimmy Scott, do solemnly swear or affirm
I, Kimmy Scott, do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely and without any purpose of evasion, mental reservation, or without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will
well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And I do further swear or affirm.
And I do further swear or affirm.
That I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any party or organization, political or otherwise.
That I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any party or organization, political or otherwise.
That now advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the State of California by, let's just go with that.
That now advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of the State of California.
Okay, let's see, there we go. By force or violence or other unlawful means.
by force or violence or other unlawful means,
that within the 5 years immediately preceding the taking this oath or affirmation,
that within the 5 years immediately preceding the taking of this oath or affirmation,
I have not been a member of any party, organization, political or otherwise,
I have not been a member of any party or organization, political or otherwise,
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state of California
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state of California
by force or violence, and that during such time I hold the office of city clerk / administrative assistant.
by force or violence, and that during such time as I hold the office of city clerk, administrative analyst,
I will not advocate nor become a member of any party, organization, political or otherwise,
I will not advocate nor become a member of any party or organization, political or otherwise,
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state of California by force or violence or other unlawful means.
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States of the state of California by force or violence or other unlawful means.
There you go, city clerk.
Say something?
All right.
I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I've really enjoyed my first year with the city, and it's been it's been a great year. It's a great time to be on board with the city team and be part of the community, and there's a lot of positive momentum right now, so thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
You know, I just like to say that the best part of this is in just 34 years you can be up here getting your retirement picture.
Excellent. Any other comments from the
I'd like to say, finally, it's only taken a year for us to get here, but I'm so glad that you're here, Kimmy, and Cody, too.
All right. Okay, next on our agenda is communications, this public comment period. Excuse me. Any member of the audience is invited to address the city council on any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the city of Crescent City. Comments of public interest or on matters appearing on the agenda are accepted. Note, however, that the council is not able to undertake extended discussion or act on non-agendized items. Such items can be referred to staff for appropriate action, which may include placement on a future agenda. Any comments that are not at the microphone or are out of order and will not be part of the public record. After receiving recognition from myself, please state your name and city or county residency for the record. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Is there any public comment? Yes, sir, come on up.
Hello, Mark Raintree, Del Norte County, Fort Dick, actually. I had handed out earlier, thank you very much, I'm from the Del Norte County Library District. I'm president of the board currently, and I wanted to make aware, we've recently adopted 5-year goals that we're about to flesh out. I wanted to give you guys an idea of what my face looked like in case you had any questions. You should come ask us or any of the trustees along lines. We're hoping to do well by our public and wanted to get that information out. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other public comment? See no other public comment, we'll close public comment period. Excuse me. Now we're going to adjourn to the Housing Authority. Call to order the Crescent City Housing Authority. We'll dispense with roll call since nobody has left the dais. We have no reports or presentations. Public comment period. Does anybody want to have any public comment on the Housing Authority? Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and we'll go to the consent calendar. We have 2 items. 1 is approval of the regular meeting minutes for July 20th, 2015, and 2, approval of the warrant claims from July 11th, 2015 through August 7th, 2015. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar for the Housing Authority? Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the dais. Is there any comments from the board or?
I'll move we approve consent calendar items 1 and 2.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Could you please pull the vote?
Board Member Holly?
Yes.
Board Member Inscore?
Yes.
Board Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ania?
Yes.
Chair Gassano?
Yes, thank you. We don't have a housing director's report. There's no public hearings, no continuing business, no new business. So we will adjourn to our next regular scheduled meeting, September 21st, 2015. And then we will now adjourn to the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. Call that to order. We don't have to do roll call. The reports and presentations, there are none. Public comment period. Is anybody wants to make any public comment on the Crescent City successor agency to the redevelopment agency? If you understand what that is, that would be great. Okay, so there's no public comment, so we'll close that and we'll go to the consent calendar. We have 2 items, 1 approval of the regular meeting minutes from July 20th, 2015, and 2 approval of the warrant claims from July 11th, 2015 through August 7th, 2015. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar? No. So we'll close that and we'll bring it back. Any discussion or motions?
I'll move for the consent calendar on the Housing Authority, or Redevelopment Agency, excuse me.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please pull the vote.
Board Member Holly?
Yes.
Board Member Inscore?
Yes.
Board Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ania?
Yes.
Chair Gassano?
Yes. And we have no more other business in front of the successor agency, so we will adjourn this meeting and come back on September 25th, 2015. So now we are back to the city. We have no public hearings, we have no continuing business, but we do have some new business. And it's item number 11, consider for adoption resolution number 2015. There's no dash on this. 39. Okay, 2000-39, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City adopting the 2015 Crescent City Water Shortage Contingency Plan.
My agenda has a dash with a 39.
My electronic one does not.
Okay.
That is all right.
We'll correct that.
Thank you. I can only read what you give me. Okay, so, Mr. Palazzo.
I would like to introduce Mr. Weir to present this item.
Bring your dash.
No members of the council. So yes, what's before you tonight with resolution 2015-39 is the adoption of the 2015 Crescent City Water Shortage Contingency Plan. So in the past, Crescent City did have a water shortage contingency plan, although it needed several updates, and that's what the new plan has in it. And the new plan meets the urban water management plan requirement for water shortage contingency plan, and also defines the stages of water shortage conservation that we'll want to do as a city. So if you look at the plan, there are 4 stages that the plan includes. There's stage 1, which is the voluntary stage. Then there'd be stage 2, which is mandatory. That's the stage we're currently in right now. Stage 3 is the emergency water shortage, and then stage 4 is critical, each of which has a reduction goal associated with the different stages. And the plan defines the manner in which the council would authorize each stage to go into effect. Again, this is in concurrence with the urban water management plan and just reiterates our compliance with the current state water regulations. Last year, the council adopted or approved stage 2 water conservation levels. That's what we continue to be in. To reiterate what those are, and there was an actual amendment that the council received, I believe, tonight to what was in the packet. So it not only was the dash, but there was actually an amended plan. The one amendment to that plan is in stage 2. What was in the packet addressed the outdoor irrigation as being limited to a number of calendar days. That was what was early on in the discussions for the state. What was actually approved is just getting to a certain reduction goal, and by doing that, each individual city could restrict outdoor irrigation in the manner that they felt would best comply with those regulations. So as stated in the past, outdoor irrigation for our city is limited to, or I guess prohibited would be the best way of saying it, between 10 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. at night. And that, again, is just best management practices. If you water during the middle of the day, you're going to lose a significant amount just to evaporation. So that's the one change to this document that the council will need to, when they approve the resolution, go ahead and prove it with that amendment stated, is that outdoor irrigation would be limited only to the hours, or I guess prohibited during the hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Other prohibitions that remain in effect would be the washing of sidewalks, driveways, public areas. Again, best management practices, any sort of outdoor irrigation that causes runoff onto sidewalks or any sort of hardscapes. The use of potable water in a fountain that does not have a recycling system or recirculation system in it. The other things that are prohibited would be the use of any sort of hose or anything without any shutoff nozzles on it. You cannot water or within 48 hours of any significant rainfall. Those are the kind of the highlights of it. Any questions from the councils?
On Facebook, I've noticed that people are taking pictures of helicopters dipping into the Smith River for fighting our fires that we have around here. Has that impacted our water supplies at all?
You know, not that we can really see, you know, during this time of year and as we move closer and closer to the winter months, you are going to see a decline in the Smith River. How much the helicopters are really, you know, affecting it is hard to tell.
Why they're just taking the pictures. I'm not sure if they're trying to say that it's using up the Smith River, but we need to fight the fires, of course.
We need, yeah, there's certain emergencies and you know, and just like with ours, there's, you know, firefighting and putting out a house fire still takes priority over the water conservation. So if you have those type of needs, then those would take priority.
Right, you do have fire hydrant use in here, but it didn't say anything about dipping into the Smith.
Yes, and fire hydrant use, other than authorized uses, is prohibited at this stage. If you get further on into other stages, it becomes only the use of fire hydrants for firefighting abilities.
Eric, on page 1, it talks about the city supplying water to 3 water districts: Church Tree Community Service District, Birch Ocean View Community Service District, and the Flood Control District.
In Meadowbrook, yes.
And the question I have is, are they included just as if they're regular water users for our reduction goal computations?
They are. They're part of our system. So even though they're a separate district, it's still the 16% system-wide.
System-wide.
So, yes, so they're still part of ours.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I was just looking at, and I know the language is one of the things with the state, and I was looking at this thing, you know, we have a description of our water supply to the city from the Smith River via a well point type structure, the Rainy Well, and then also it talks about groundwater and Smith River planned groundwater basin. And I know that we're going back and forth with the state that we actually take surface water, and maybe we should say surface water collection and watershed plain from.
Yes, and it is. It's definitely all about the terminology. So we do have water rights that are surface water rights from the Smith River. Currently, with the CASGIM is kind of the group that's running the groundwater basin. They do consider the Rainy Well a part of the Smith River groundwater basin. So as that discussion continues, possibly we could revisit this particular paragraph.
Sure. I you know, because I know that, you know, one division is saying that we actually take groundwater and another one says we're taking surface water. And it has to deal with our contingency plans and where we are in the state in our water supply.
Yes, and you know, the Smith River from a water quality standpoint is considered groundwater. From a water quality standpoint, we do have the surface water rights for extraction from the Smith River.
All right, and I just want to make another note that when I was doing the math on this, it says that, you know, we can take, where was that? That we are, here we are actually, we have the rights for 1 trillion gallons a year. Just for everybody to put that in there, because it's like 944,265 million gallons, so that is equivalent to 1 trillion gallons a year that we have water rights to, so we will not run out of water.
So that is, yeah, that's the whole drainage basin.
Right, the whole drainage basin, the whole drainage basin, and then we are 750 million gallons that we can take from the water.
So our water rights
Yes.
allow us to take 2,600 acre feet of water per year per the city's water rights. The basin is what they're saying in
Sure,
here
is
can produce
a trillion per
yes,
year, and we are able to take 3/4 billion gallons. So we are in good shape.
The basin, yes, and that's part of the plan as well. And you saw those graphs that are actually on page 4.
Right.
Where, those graphs are a little bit confusing when you first glance at them, but what it's trying to show is you have the annual rainfall, which they've tracked since 1948, and they've identified the 3 lowest years, the 3 driest years of rainfall, which actually occurred in 1989, 1990, 1991. And then the graph below, which is a little bit of a sliding scale, but that box is around the same 3-year period, because they've tracked the data since 1932 on this one, shows that the minimum monthly average discharge was actually not one of the lowest years. So what that's saying is that the groundwater within the Smith River Basin is actually quite large, that is around the Smith River itself, and is not real reflective of the rainfall that we're receiving. So this will be another good year to monitor that as we move through. We are starting to see a conversion between where we were in the past from past years as to cubic feet per second flowing out the Smith and the driest years. So you're starting to see like I said, a conversion of those 2 data points, reflecting that we might be not as directly related to rainfall as what the basin is.
Right. So yeah, because I know when I was up jeeping with my brother, I mean, there's water just coming out of mountains, with the aquifer just straight down, and we're up there like maybe about 4,000 feet, and there's still streams coming out of the mountains.
And that's kind of what you're seeing now, and that's what this report is reflecting, is you kind of, that line that he shows is right around 270 cubic feet per second. That's about what we think the groundwater actually maybe pushes even back into the Smith River almost. It's almost where you have that groundwater that's keeping the Smith River at that level versus surface water runoff in the winter.
So basically, I guess I could retract my statement. We are talking about groundwater if it's coming up out of the aquifers like that. But just to reiterate, state puts us at a moderate drought, and we really don't have to worry about that too much.
Still in moderate drought. It's still important to conserve water because, it's a statewide mandate of the 25% total in aggregate. They said, Crescent City, you must conserve at least 16%. And, that's important for us to meet. We're right at that level, it seems. Right now, we're slightly below in June. In fact, we received a little letter stating that the state was aware that we were slightly below in June. And so the July, yes, we're at 13% versus the 16. The July numbers look slightly better. Looks like we're right at 17 for the July numbers. So we're slightly above that. They're going to look at the total aggregate, but it's a statewide mandate, so that's why we still must conserve the water.
Yes. So still conserve water, but we're okay.
We're not concerned about the rainy collector at this point with being able to supply our needs.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, is there any public comment on this water contingency plan, water shortage contingency plan? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll close that and bring it back to the council. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, I just have one question again. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this. On stage 2, where outdoor irrigation of ornamental landscapes or turf with potable water is prohibited on odd numbered calendar days, and at the same time, you're wanting us to adopt the contingency plan that includes irrigation only from 10 to 6. So is that 10 to 6 on?
No. So that was the typo in the plan. So it's not on odd number of calendar days. So that should be struck from the plan. In fact, the council should have a new plan in front of them that's redlined.
I'm sorry.
So I want you to strike the odd number of calendar days. That was something the state had discussed early on when they were coming up with the prohibitions. But then they went
so it's already changed since we got our agenda packet tonight.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was, not quite that quick, but it was in an earlier plan. And so what we want to adopt is this plan with that red line strike through it where it just prohibits irrigation between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And Martha could probably direct you as to the exact language.
Thank you. I was working on the old one.
Hold on.
No,
Another question. Did you have another question? Can you explain to us how how the process works as far as defining the stage. Is that based solely on the recommendation or mandate that comes from the state? Is that something we control? Is it a combination of the two? And how do we move from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and so forth?
It is a council action. So you would have a recommendation probably from staff. It would be an agendized item, and the council would take action dictating which stage we need to go to. It could also come down from a mandate from the state. That was what happened last year. The state came down in their water conservation requirements and said you must impose the stage within your water shortage contingency plan that limits outdoor irrigation. So last year for us that was stage 2. This year they've somewhat changed that in the fact that they said you now need to meet 25% reduction goal statewide. So Crescent City was 16. We stayed at stage 2. The numbers we're seeing at stage 2 seem to indicate with that and with the amount of outreach that we've put out for people, that's getting us to about that goal that we're at. So again, it's a movable stage requirement that will take council action. Might come from some directive from the state, might come from just a staff recommendation, but it's council action that implements it.
So if looking at the reduction goals by stages here, then if 16 is what we have to be at right now, from the state standpoint, correct?
Correct.
I mean, that's not the aggregate statewide, but ours is 16%. Then with the new plan, we could step back and say, we believe we're at stage 1 and maintain that because that's a reduction of 20%, which is higher than 16.
That's the reduction goal of stage 1. And that's where it is a little bit confusing. We're actually seeing numbers with stage 2 being implemented with the amount of public outreach that we're doing and the actions that are being taken by the people that are actually on our water system. Stage 2 is only getting us to about 17. We'll see what this month comes in at. So that's where, you know, the numbers in the plan are somewhat fluid, no pun intended, with the actions that people are actually taking. You know, and the amount of public outreach that we do as a city. So if we really pushed hard for the voluntary, we might be able to see numbers get up a little bit higher. With stage 2, again, it's the amount of outreach that we're doing. It's the amount of action that people are actually taking. Because again, stage 2 is only really best management practices. There's a few things that are prohibited, but it's not a rationing of water. It's just don't waste the water. So those are kind of the numbers. That's where those goal numbers are hard. They're based on kind of percentages statewide on with these particular conservation measures. That's what you might see in a community. With ours, as we're starting to see the real numbers, they seem to be a little bit lower than that as far as percentage.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One more thing, will we have this plan posted on our website for the public?
Yes, we certainly can.
Okay, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, I already took public comment, so we're still back to the council. Is there anybody who has any more questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve Resolution 2015-39, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City adopting the 2015 Crescent City Water Shortage Contingency Plan with the corrections that were made in the printed copy that we were presented tonight.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please pull the vote.
Councilmember Hawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Inscore?
Yes.
Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Pro Tem Mania?
Yes.
Mayor Gastineau?
Yes, and so everybody, please conserve water. Let's get to those 16%. Let's try to make it 20. Let's up it a little bit. Let's go to 20%. That's right. We'll shoot for 20 and hope for 18. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that pretty much concludes our agenda, and now we're on to city council items. Legislative matters. Apparently we do have one. A, consider sending letters of support for SB 593, McGuire, regarding the temporary rental of residential units. Mr. Palazzo.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. This was a request by Senator McGuire's staff for the city council to send supporting letters of SB 593 regarding temporary rental and residential units. I have a actually staff report that can be typed up in your packet if you have some additional questions on that.
All I just noticed that on the first page, there was a typo. It didn't say the city of Crescent City, it just said the city of Crescent.
On which one?
Page 11. Which one was that? I made a note. Oh, here it is. It's the President Aguilar. Right there in that first paragraph, right after that.
Okay, we'll take a look at that and get that
The
correct.
City of Crescent supports. So, yeah. It's hard to see with the draft going over the top of it. But otherwise. So do we have a consensus on sending these letters? We do have consensus, so I'll sign that letter and we'll send it off to support Mr. McGuire's.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Back. Any other legislative matters to discuss? No? All right. City manager report? Anything to report?
And nothing to report tonight.
Great. Council members, who wants to start? Who am I going to make start? Oh, Mr. Inscore, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a few opportunities to meet with the public in a variety of ways. One of the things that I was able to do was join the city manager and our city clerk with, is it Looking Forward? Is that the name of the group at Beachfront Park? I was very, very surprised that on a Saturday of fair weekend that there would be that many people who would be down there with a vested interest of wanting to be a part of the plan of Looking Forward to the Beachfront Park. And I thought that was, I really appreciate the efforts of staff to coordinate that with this organization. Thought that was great. Got to attend the opening ceremonies of the Explorer Academy, and given the fact that I live across the street from Crescent Elk, got to hear them work all week long, sometimes at odd hours, but it was neat to see our young people involved in that and appreciate the work that's being done for our young people. Attended our Visitor Bureau meeting this last week, as well as our Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting, though I have to say was not exceptionally well attended by all the different intergovernmental agencies. I hope that we can work on that because we have lots of work to do together. So, but I appreciate all of that. I think that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. We had the Last Chance Grade Stakeholders meeting on August 5th, and I think we're making a lot of progress. I think Councilmember Hawley would agree. We did a scoring on different alternatives, and so the group came to consensus on one route and then agreed that we'd like to learn more information on the tunnels route. We learned another interesting fact that any routes that went inland would require tunnels, regardless of whatever route we went on inland. And we also found out that the two tunnel alternatives would require verification on whether or not the southern portal entryway would be stable enough to even consider either tunnel route viable. So that was another interesting fact. So we'll meet again on September 2nd. So that was interesting. And then we had the airport JPA meeting on Thursday the 6th, and the contracts for further construction out at the airport were opened the next day, and I have to thank our mayor for stepping in for me at a special meeting on the 5th, so I'll let him share the results of that. And then I went to I worked the fair on Friday the 7th, which was really pretty nice, really good turnout. And then we had local transportation commission meeting where we had a presentation by Caltrans on let's see, I brought my notes from that so I could have the terminology correct. for, they're doing a, what they call a last chance grade real-time monitoring system, which is way more complex than I would have ever even imagined. They're doing GPS satellite monitoring and all kinds of different construction on that, and they'll have it done in about 2 months' time before the rainy season starts, so that we'll be able to halt people traveling over that section of the road should there be any kind of risk to the road for safety reasons. And that was the biggest part of our meeting on last Thursday, so that was pretty interesting. And council members Ania and Holly were there to hear about that presentation, and I think that they're going to put that presentation on their website as well, so the public can hear more about that eventually. So that's my reports.
Thank you, Mr. Holly.
Okay, thank you for being so thorough. I won't have to be. So the Last Chance Grade Stakeholders Group, it was good to attend that, and I think we've made great strides in that area. And we're looking forward to a lot more in the way of engineering reports relative to tunneling. So those should be available to us at next month's meeting. I was able to go on a, for lack of a better word, a blight tour with Mr. Palazzo, Mr. Taylor, and Ms. Scott. And we do have some challenges within the city. And I know we've been working on them, and we will continue to work on them, but part of it is identifying where the priorities are. And I appreciate our efforts, and you're educating us firsthand about where those needs are. The Transportation Commission meeting, again, was interesting. And before this, the Last Chance Grade information was, I guess, stored on a Caltrans website. And now they have their own Last Chance Grade website. And that's something changed that we just learned about at the last meeting from the Caltrans representative. So you can go there and you can see almost much of what we see in this stakeholders group actually appears on that website. So I think it's most interesting for anyone that would be wanting to check on that. Today I had a Senior Center Personnel Committee meeting where we're working over the personnel policies. So that's what I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ania.
Thank you. I also attended the opening of the Explorer Academy last week, and it was very good. I'm also on the El Tico board, the Transportation Commission, and that was an excellent presentation, as Councilmember Murray talked about. There are some fissions, what they called, in the roadway, and we're going to, Caltrans is stepping up now. It's real time and not just observing every 6 or 8 hours. Now it goes to a computer, and if there's some real dangers on that road, they can close it a lot faster. So they're listening to us, I think, as a community, that we want something done there to spend the money up in Northern California, far Northern California, and not Los Angeles. And so they understand that there's major problems there with that roadway. And hopefully it doesn't take 16 years to replace it. And I also received a few complaints about our camping ordinance, that it's not being enforced, and I would ask the city manager to speak with the police chief to see about our camping ordinance that we have that prohibits that. And 3 people talked to me about that. And lastly, for me, I want to announce tonight that I'll be resigning as a city council member, effective after the October 5th meeting due to health reasons, and will be leaving the community, unfortunately. But I've enjoyed my 11 years of being here, both on the Planning Commission and on the City Council. And it's, I feel pretty bad about having to resign, but that'll be effective after the October 5th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Sad news for our council. And okay, let's see here. I was on the KFOG show on Friday morning, Small Town Talk, and we talked about all sorts of things, drought, what's going on with the Cultural Center and Business Improvement District, and all sorts of good things. And it was a good experience, and hopefully got some information out there for people about how we're doing things here in the city. I did attend the Explorers Academy opening ceremonies and gave a few words of encouragement to the kids, our future leaders, and told them lead by example, because it's their community. We're just holding it for them until they get there. And then I also was at their graduation on Saturday the 15th, and noticed most of them made it through. And there's a few that I noted that did not make it, and but they're still all explorers, and they're from the sheriff's office and from the Sea Cadets and from our police department, and also from fire, and then also from ambulance, so EMTs. So it's good to see all these kids, and it was really nice to see one of the young ladies. She was the leader of the whole camp, and so she was making sure that they're all doing their jobs and keeping going. So that was pretty much it on my pretty slow week. And so with that, we are going to adjourn to our closed session to finish up this meeting, and we'll be back after our closed session. We don't know how long that's going to be. And so thank you, everybody, until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be September 8th, 2015.
And that is on a Tuesday. Monday's a holiday.
Oh, that's right. Our first holiday of the school year. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we're going to the closed session now.